Hello, and welcome to this week's edition of Referral Exchange Networking's Business Enrichment Series. As we know, it isn't always easy to compete with companies that are bigger than you and have greater resources. However, one advantage you can have is you can be smarter than they are. No one can tell you how much you can learn and how much of an expert and an asset you can be. That's why education is critical for small businesses. And that's why we at Referral Exchange strive to make our members, as well as you, just a little bit smarter every week. So let's get right to it. It was March 11, 2011, when a 9.0 earthquake struck off the coast of Japan. It was the largest earthquake to hit Japan ever recorded. Although Japan's coastal nuclear facilities were designed to withstand tsunamis, the waves created by this earthquake were 3 times higher than the maximum protections. The resulting chaos, the meltdowns, and the subsequent radiation contamination of the Fukushima Danani facility created one of the worst nuclear disasters in the world, only slightly exceeded by that at Chernobyl. However, just 6 miles down the coast from that facility was Fukushima's sister nuclear plant, Daini. The plants were similar in design and location, yet the sister facility avoided the fate of its sibling, escaping meltdown. So what was the difference? Well, although the second facility did retain some electrical power, it was totally insufficient to do anything but keep the lights on in a few of the buildings. However, as explained in the Harvard Business Review several years after, one of the main differences between the two facilities was the reaction of its management and the application of the management principles of sense-making and enactment. Sense-making is an adaptive behavior in which understanding and experience shape each other. Humans, and therefore our businesses, cling to familiar expectations. But when crises disrupts the familiar and past experience doesn't explain current conditions, we're forced to revise our interpretation of events and our response to them. So bit by bit, we clarify an uncertain reality through action and subsequent reflection. This is what is referred to as enactment. Unfortunately, enactment isn't a linear process. So in a crisis, we often venture down some wrong paths before finding our way. Now, in the case of the sister facility, the management collected as much data as possible and then used it to keep workers up to date and allowed them to confront and process the uncertainty for themselves, prompting them to do their own sense-making and to reflect on how their emergent reality fit their assessment of risk. One of the keys in uncertain times is to share information freely as it becomes available, so as to replace uncertainty with meaning. As mentioned earlier, crisis management is not linear. Therefore, challenges will emerge requiring adjustments. In any crisis, it's short-sighted, disingenuous, and unproductive to make sweeping pronouncements and commitments in early days. We need to gather the data, make and revise plans openly, and create shared understanding of the risks faced when the actions we need to take. If the recent COVID epidemic has taught us anything, it's that we need to expect the unexpected, and as much as we can, prepare ourselves and our businesses to avoid the urge to fall back on familiar strategies in unfamiliar circumstances. We need to have procedures in place for data collection, appraisal, and planning, with the understanding that rigid adherence to a familiar course of action will most likely not be the right path to take in extraordinary, unexpected circumstances. Now, will COVID come roaring back? No one knows, but in my opinion, with vaccines and the protocols that we've developed in the last few years, a repeat of the massive disruptions due to the pandemic is unlikely. However, with the world as it is in 2022, with global crises multiplying and tensions high, we'd be foolish not to prepare our businesses for more disruptions and uncertainties. According to a recent blog post by EnRICHment.com entitled "How to Navigate Business Uncertainty," here are a few ways that small businesses and entrepreneurs can prepare for these sort of disruptions. Number one, refine your business plan to maintain steady cash flow. Number two, be ready to pivot to virtual meetings and events. Number three, make strategic partnerships. Now, I'm not 100% sure what that would look like for your particular business, but I think it's pretty interesting. You should explore that. Number four, stay lean and agile. Number five, make communications transparent. And six, focus on what you can control. Well, seems like a pretty good strategy in uncertain times. Well, as I said, that's it for this week. I hope you all got something out of it. And if you'd like to talk about anything you just heard, I would love to have that conversation. If you'd like to know about how you can join a referral exchange networking chapter, or even how to start your own chapter, reach out to me at raustin@referralexchangenetworking.com. That's exchange with an X. And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking on the subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner of this video. As I said, folks, that's it for this week. I hope you got something out of it, and I'll talk to you next week. Take care.